Hello and welcome to today's panel discussion about virtual book tours. For those of you following on Google Plus or on YouTube, go over now to www.promoday.net. Registration is going to stay open all day long, so if you are a latecomer, you can still log into the forums and join in. You can watch all the webinars that are there, catch all the other replays of the other live events that have been happening all throughout the day, and get involved in everything else that's going on today because there's loads of awesomeness happening there. But anyway, right now we're going to be talking about virtual book tours. I have some fantastic ladies to join me right now. We've got Gina Hott. Hi, Gina.
Hi, Joe. How are you today?
I'm good. Feeling the buzz of promo day. Now, you actually work for different tour companies, not just the one. Can you tell us a little about who you are and what you do?
I'm Gina Hott, and in addition, I work for Partners in Crime Virtual Book Tours, and we do all mystery, suspense, anything crime-related for our authors, so that they have a specialized group of hosts that really love their books, and they're not going out to just general public and everybody. And then we also have a tour company for Providence Book Promotions, and that's a general fiction tour company, and we do a little bit of everything, and everybody that just doesn't fall into the Partners in Crime bailiwick.
Okay, awesome. I love working with you guys. You always seem to find like the most fantastic stuff as well. Apart from everything else, I love a good mystery and stuff, so I'm a big fan. And then we have Laura as well. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for inviting me.
You also have different companies.
I'm on an online interview.
Laura?
Yes?
Yeah, you also work for different companies as well, don't you? You have the iRead book tours.
That's right. So
but you also have
Italy book tours. I own two companies. One is iRead book tours, and we do general fiction, we do mystery, thrillers, children's books, middle grade, YA, but we also do nonfiction books, and that's become a little bit like our niche. A lot of authors who've written nonfiction books do contact us because we do them. We have a strong database of book bloggers who love reading nonfiction. And then I also have Italy book tours, and I focus on books set in Italy because I'm Italian Canadian and I just love a good book set in Italy. So we feature those kind of books.
I'm a big fan of Italy books as well.
Right.
Those that I actually live in Rome, Italy, so yes, I'm definitely a big Italy fan as well. And also, it's very cool the fact about the non-fiction as well, because a lot of authors, when they think about virtual book tours and things, they think about the fictional side of things, and they sort of forget that they can do a virtual tour for a non-fiction book as well. In fact, they can be incredibly effective for a non-fiction book. And then last but not least, we also have Virginia from World of Ink. Hi, Virginia.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Now, I know it's super early for you, but you also, through World of Ink, you do so many different things as well. Can you tell us a bit about the World of Ink network and the sort of tours that you guys do? Virginia? Okay, I think I may
Marcia
have lost
Casper Cook is the other partner. We're both actually writers. Do you have me?
Yeah, I've got you now. We have a few audio problems there, but I've got you. Okay, so yourself and Marcia Cook, you were saying?
Yeah, Marcia Casper Cook and myself are partners at the World of Ink. We're both authors. Marcia is a signatory agent, and I'm also an editor. And we only have the World of Ink, which is actually a podcast and a marketing service company for authors. And we do all genres, but the one genre that we tend to do the strongest is probably YA and children's books. It seems like a lot of people don't really focus solely on that genre of writing. And since I used to run Stories for Children magazine, we have a really huge network of people that we know from doing the magazine. So we're really able to help a lot of the YA and children's authors get their books out there. Compared to, there's not any tour company, I guess, that focuses solely on the kids and teen market. So we've kind of taken that as our main focus to help that group, since they tend to have a really hard time getting their stuff out.
I think that's great. That's great. I love the fact that each of you has your own sort of like specialized niche and things as well. Because obviously, as a tour company, that means that you can specialize in connecting with sites where obviously their audience is people that like those genres as well, which means as well the store tops, the stops that you're getting for your authors are very much within their target audience and not just general tour stops for the sake of it. So that's very important. Like I said, I've worked with all three of you for several years now, and you all do a fantastic job. So I know you know your stuff. But those of you who don't know their stuff, I wrote a book about virtual book tours, and so I've organised virtual book tours both from the author point of view, but also from the hosting point of view as well. So I got both angles there as well, which is something that obviously a lot of other authors don't have. They are just authors, and they've not approached virtual book tours and things before. And when that happens, a lot of them don't really understand the process. They're not familiar with, how to make a virtual book tour successful. They might just think, they send information about their book, and then the tour company can, I don't know, just create some kind of magic, and they'll suddenly have books flying off the shelves. Now, we all know that that's a little bit unrealistic, because it's not enough to just, have a couple of showcase posts for a book. And that's it. There's a lot more work that goes into it than that, and the authors, they need to work with the tour companies, they need to work with their hosts and make sure they're getting the right kind of content out there as well, because a virtual book tour can actually include a lot of different content. You can have interviews, you can have guest posts, you can do the book spotlights. You can even do collaboration pieces where, you get together for group posts and things like that. And then, of course, the social media. With, like, Virginia, I know she has the podcast and things with the Blog Talk Radio through the World of Ink Network. I mean, you do your interviews for the internet radio, which is a lot of fun. I always love doing that. And I've actually been hosted by Virginia as well in the past to talk about my children's books as well that I publish. Virginia, when it comes to doing those kind of multimedia stops, do you have any tips for authors who are sort of, what kind of authors should be looking at those kind of multimedia stops on their tour?
The ones that I find that are the most successful for the multimedia kind of tours are people who write memoirs. So we've done a lot of memoirs because of that. Obviously, the teen and children's genre, because when they can read an excerpt from their books or share, some of the different stops or school type visits they do, that kind of helps them boost that part of their marketing for them. Romance always does really well in multimedia, just because everybody loves, everything within that genre and the different niches in it. Nonfiction does pretty good as well, because obviously it's usually a pretty, formal kind of topic conversation. So we've done stuff where we've talked about books that help with breast cancer or different types of cancer, autism, that kind of stuff, especially if it's like really family information type how-to tip books. We've done a few cooking shows actually on our network, so even though you can't see people cook, just talking about the recipes and tips, people like that. So those tend to be the strongest ones. More your literary fiction and suspense, thriller, horror. Well, no, horror actually does pretty good as well. But the other ones, they do fine. They're just not as strong as the other ones I mentioned in the more multi kind of media where you're on social network, where you're on podcasts, where you're actually doing the interviews and the blog stops and that kind of stuff.
Obviously, one of the really good things about doing these live multimedia events as well is the fact that they can all be embedded to be used in blog posts and things later on as well. So you can actually get a lot of usage out of the same content because it can be repurposed later on and things as well. That applies to both the Blog Talk Radio interviews, but also Google Plus Hangouts, for example, like the one we're doing now. If you live stream to YouTube, and then it can be embedded and used in different blog posts later on as well. It's a really good way of getting extra content out of your content as well. Gina, moving over to you. Now, like you said, you specialize in the whole mystery thrillers, that kind of thing with the partners in crime.
Yes.
Do you find that, how well prepared are the people that come to you? With being such a specialized company, such a specialist, do you find that the people that they already know the expectations and things, or do they come to you kind of like, lost sheep as well, not really knowing what they're doing?
A good mix of both, actually. There are some that come that have done blog tours before and know exactly what to expect. And what they're really looking for from us is that group of hosts that really just loves the mystery and crime. Whereas we also have some people that have never done anything before. It's their first book, and they are wading into waters unknown. So we have a really, really good mix of a little bit of everybody.
Okay. Now, next question is, how can an author, obviously there's lots of authors out there who don't understand the power of a virtual book tour. For me personally as an author, it's been probably the best marketing strategy that I've used as far as actually book sales go. But also as branding in general, because through doing the virtual book tours and visiting the different sites and things, not only are you increasing your book sales, but you're also increasing your author reputation and building your author brand, because you know that name recognition and things that it creates on that. So for me personally, I'm a very big fan of the virtual book tours. But I also know they do have to be done correctly. And so, from your guys' point of view, Lara, let's throw this one over to you. Do you have any particular tips for what authors can do to help make their virtual book tour more successful?
The best thing, and I'm sure that the other two will agree with me, is that when authors work in conjunction with a tour coordinator, it really makes the tour smoother and more successful. So as a tour coordinator, you have to be excessively organized. Make sure that you have all the information given to the author ahead of time. I always ask for 2 months lead time because most of my tours are traditional book tours, which means that most of the stops are reviews. So I want to give my bloggers a minimum of 4 weeks to read the books. It's courtesy. I've been a book blogger for 8 years. I know what it's like to be part of a virtual book tour, and book bloggers are extremely busy. So to give the book blogger enough time, and that way the author too feels confident, because the author has a chance to send out his or her books, and has time to do the interviews, the guest posts, and then just waiting for the tour to start. So it's a good process. We take the time to do it, and as in marketing, everything has to be done ahead of time. That's what makes anything successful.
So I think a lot of authors kind of skip over that part. It's a bit like with the publishing process as well. I don't know. As a writer, obviously you've written your book and it's your little baby and you can't wait to see it out there and selling copies and things. So the whole time issue, you know, you're like, no, I just want people to read it and get it out there and things. But then obviously the publishing has to be edited, you have to do the formatting and all the rest of it that goes behind that. The same thing applies with the book marketing, because obviously you know, if you're going to put together something like the virtual book tour, then the review copies need to be sent out. You need to give people time to read those review copies, and a lot of the time book bloggers, they will have a to-be-read list, which, I mean, I've from personal experience, mine is like this long, which you know, I'm trying to get through. So, and obviously you have to give the priority to the people as the dates come in and everything. So it's not easy, you know. Even if it's someone that reads a lot, they're not going to be reading 24 hours, 7 days a week, and so they might not be able to post a review the following day, you know. So you have to bear in mind the time. But also with even written interviews and guest posts and things, a blogger will, especially with the bigger, more popular sites, probably have a kind of like at least a month or two lead time anyway. I mean, I know over at writersandauthors.info, which is my blog that I do, I have my general runtime is 1 to 2 months ahead of time. So I have to sort of book. I mean, it might be that, you know, there are slower months where I can slot people in at shorter notice than that. But at the same time as well, when you're having to reserve spots to host people that far ahead of time, you want to be sure that you're going to get that content when you need it, and not at the very last minute, because obviously you've got other stuff to do. You want to be able to promote the posts and things in ahead of time and things as well. And that's not possible if you've not received it.
And some authors don't realize that long process. They think that, you know, it's within a few weeks everything can get done. And sometimes it's not just the authors, it's the publicists as well that don't understand the whole process of virtual book tours. So for me, if I actually talk to the authors on the phone, I get to explain to them the whole process, how it works, what book bloggers do, that they're volunteers actually reading their book and posting for them, that they're going to post also on social media. So explaining the whole process really helps the author to understand what it's all about. And I think for me that's really important, so that for me a successful tour is when most of the reviews get posted. I have right now a success rate of 95% of reviews posted, but that's because we take the time to do the process. If you do it really quickly, sloppily, it's not going to happen. So it's really important to have the lead time to do it well.
Yeah, that's true. And the other thing as well, I mean, I've noticed through my blog, there's people who will send, I don't know, like 10 separate emails to send you the stuff that you need to put the post together. And I can tell you, as a host, that is one of the most annoying things that there is, which is another thing that some authors don't understand. Because they're concentrated on themselves and their book and their stock. They don't sort of see the picture of it. So I always urge people to actually, you know, attach the media kit or whatever for their book, so that all the information is in one place. Attach the images on the same email and stuff. Because, I mean, if you are a successful blogger, then you will have an inbox which is exploding. I mean, I get like hundreds, even thousands of emails in the one day. So, you know, that's a lot to have to shift through. And if you're having to look for, you know, several emails from the person you're going to be hosting just so that you can put together the blog post, you kind of lose the enthusiasm for hosting them. Whereas if you get someone who is very organized and they send you everything all in the one go, you're like, I'm going to host this person again, definitely. And that applies whether you're hosting authors, whether you're working with them directly or whether they're coming through tour companies. The same thing applies. I mean, I know you ladies are fantastic. You're always on your ball with your media kits and things, and send them out ahead of time and stuff, which is very much appreciated.
So much.
But I'm surprised at how many tour companies are not that on the ball. because this is another thing I wanted to touch on today, is the fact that not all tour companies are the same. I've worked with tour companies in the past where, you know, I have a kind of like a 3 strikes and you're out kind of policy. Because, you know, if the posts arrive late and, you know, they're sending things all over the place and you end up getting confused, after I just like, that's too much work. You know, because as a host, I'm offering as a free service in this case. So, you know, you sort of expect that little bit back. Now, let's just talk a little bit about the types of virtual book tours you can do, because like we already touched a little bit on the different types of stops and things that you can do. What kind of tours, in your opinion, are most successful? We're talking, this is like a review book tours where it's all reviews, or ones that are a mix of reviews, interviews, guest posts, ones that have social media stops in them as well. Gina, what are your thoughts on this?
For us, the book tours that are the best really are the ones that encompass social media, guest posts, interviews, reviews. A good intermix of a little bit of everything works best, because then you're hitting every different person that is going to watch that. That there are different types of media that speak to different people, and when you do a little bit of everything, you are hitting everybody across the board, and there's always something that somebody likes. It's like giveaways. When you do a giveaway, occasionally giving away the book is the best thing, but sometimes giving away an Amazon $5 gift card works so much better than giving away the book, especially for an unknown author. But it gets their name out there, and that makes them a public figure now, whereas before nobody knew about them. So it depends on the author, it depends on the book, but generally and overall, a little bit of everything works best for almost everyone.
Okay. And Laura, what about you when it comes to the length of virtual book tours? Because a virtual book tour can be anything from, like, you know, a couple of days. You could have a week solid, you could have a 2 week solid. My most successful virtual book tour that I did personally was 3 months of a post every single day for 3 months, which was incredibly tiring, a huge amount of work. But it was totally worth it, and if I had the energy, then I would definitely do it again. But obviously, not everyone, you know, can afford to take 3 months where you're doing posts every single day. What kind of length do you think, in general, works best?
Well, it really depends. It depends on the virtual book tour package that the author purchases. If it's only 10 stops, then obviously it's about 2 weeks. So, you know, it could vary from 2 weeks to a month. But I also do a lot of books in a series where the author is actually promoting their books in a series. I'm just doing one now, and he's promoting all 4 books in the series. So obviously I made that for 2 months, and it's 100 stops. It's like one of my biggest tours because the reviewers are reviewing all 4 books. So we had to obviously extend it to give time for the bloggers to be able to read the books. They're short books, they're about 200 pages or so it's doable. But you need to have that time. I've done another book tour in a series where we did 3 months because it was 3 books, but each book was about 300 pages. So again, giving time for the bloggers to be able to read the book, you know, post a review, and be able to, read all 3 books, you know, in a good span of time, you know, not to have to rush to read all 3 books. So it really depends on the books that are being promoted. It depends on the virtual book tour package that is being bought. That's what will depend on the length of the tour. Yeah.
Okay. We're actually, I can't believe how fast time flies by during these hangouts. Like, seriously, we're almost up to half-hour mark now. It's, 25 minutes has already gone by. Okay. Trying to re-get everything back together now. Virginia, now you work a lot with the children's books and things, which obviously have a much shorter text than your romance novels or even your non-fiction books. It's a very different kind of market. So obviously you're not going to be doing stops that include a lot of excerpts from the book, for example, because it would be basically the entire book. Obviously that doesn't sort of come into it. But when it comes to children's books and things, I mean, what kind of thing works best? Because I mean, obviously you're wanting to get to your readers, who are the kids themselves, but you're also looking to get to who actually purchases the children's books, which you know, it's the adults. You're looking for the teachers, you're looking for the mums, the dads, grandparents, that kind of thing. Is there a particular kind of post that you find works better for the children's books particularly?
The one thing that we've really learned, sorry, in literally the 7 years that we've really focused in on the YA and children's books, is our list of hosts that we work with. And I know most successful tour companies will have a list of people that they've worked with that have been, you know, very good about always getting their post up and stuff. So that's key when it especially comes to the YA and children's market. So we really screen our the hosts we work with, and a lot of them tend to be librarians at children's schools or are librarians in the children's section of, you know, a public library. They tend to be usually people that own like a bookstore that focuses in on children. So we really make sure that they already kind of have where they're in that market themselves as a host, because obviously they're going to be the ones who not only do reading times and stuff with kids, but also are talking to parents or teachers. And so that's really key. And I think that's why a lot of, at least even with picture book authors, why you don't see a lot of picture book authors do tours, because most tour companies don't focus in on that, because it's really hard, like you say, because you can't really share much about a book when, you know, what are they going to do, post a page with a picture and that's it. It doesn't do much. So that's really been the big trick for us is who we work with and the type of people we work with. And then when we do our tours too, it's the type of tour. So with kids, they want to identify with the author, so doing more interviews and letting where parents and the kids get to know the author themselves is important in that, within those genres, more than a lot of the reviews and stuff of a book. I find that at least all the children's authors I know, and I know quite a few New York Times YA authors and picture book authors, the reason why they're successful is because the kids feel like they know them personally, even though they really don't. They feel like they do from the school visits or hearing them on different shows or just kind of the way they present themselves. They have to be very personable for the kids to feel like, oh yeah, you know, I really like them. So that's really how we focus in with that particular genre when we're touring an author. And we also don't do it on a time frame like a lot of tour companies do. It's an overtime kind of thing. And I know you know that, Joe. We always tell our children's and YA authors that if an opportunity comes up even after the main tour is over, we'll still put your book out there because it's an opportunity that we don't want you to miss after, you know, the main tour's kind of done and run its course. So we pretty much work with our authors in those genres continuously. Anytime something new comes up, we'll send out an email and say, hey, do you want us to try this with your book? Or do you have a new book that you want us to try and send out? So we kind of become like a family. That's really how that genre works. It has to like a family unit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And yes, I've worked with you before. Like I said, for several years now. I know your company well, and you do an incredible job with the children's books. So very good there. We're at the very end now. So Virginia, if you can just let everyone know your website so that they know where to go for information about the World of Ink Network.
Yeah, so it's really simple. It's just worldofinknetwork.com, and that connects to everything Marcia and I do. So it connects to our tours, what we do on the radio, and then what we do individually ourselves.
Okay, fantastic. And Eugenia, if you can just give us your web links as well.
Absolutely. Partnersincrime.net.
Okay, awesome. And you also have the other company as well, which is the hottbooks.com. Is that right?
We do, yes.
Fantastic. And last but not least, Laura.
So it's iReadBookTours.com, and it's ItalyBookTours.com. Pretty simple.
Okay, awesome. I love it when you know, people come up with the titles for their websites that actually, you know, it's very, very simple. Also, because when people are looking for you on the internet or social media and stuff, if you actually have it with your name, it's a lot easier to find. Just as a note to anyone else, that applies to authors as well. If you actually use your author name, it's a lot easier. But anyway, that's all that we have time for right now. It's been great chatting with you all. You're fantastic. I can personally highly recommend all three of you. You're great people to work with, lovely ladies, and you do a fantastic job of promoting everyone's books. So everyone, go check out their websites, and if you are thinking about doing a virtual book tour, then I'm sure these lovely ladies would love to take care of you. If you do have any other questions about virtual book tours and things as well, I'm going to be around in forums all day today, so you can register again at www.promoday.net, and in the forums there you'll find the replay of this chat, and on that thread you can post any questions that you might have for myself or the other ladies taking that, and we will get back to you throughout the course of the day. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thanks again, ladies, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.